Roger. Ready to move out.
Yeah.
Bell and Company.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Bell and Company. Sunday night live here on the YouTube and IntellectualRadio.com, as well as all of those podcasting sites once we're done. And, Facebook, all of the social media. You can find us pretty much anywhere something is digital. And speaking of digital, we're doing the show right now here on Intellectual Radio Live. I'm Mario J. Bell of Bell and Company, along with a full studio here. We always have my lovely co-host over there. Hey, Miss Libby, how are you?
I'm lovely now. Thank you.
Okay, well, sometimes. Tonight, right now, you're lovely. How's that?
Yeah, that's fair. That's
and then I can't forget to introduce Joe Brunker, who gets us all these cool guests. Hey, Joe. And then our guest. Hello. Go ahead and say your name, sir.
Hello, my name is Del Jones.
Hey, how are you doing? Nice to meet you, Del. I feel like when I say that, I'm like, I can't remember what quiz show it was where they didn't show the person, but like introduce yourself, and they would give like a little intro who they are, but not their name. But he would say it that same way. I can't think what that was. Not password. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Good to see you. Nice to have you
I just
here.
got very confused.
Yeah, I know. It's from the 50s, but it sounded. It sounded. I might have meant to tell the truth, but it sounded just like that. Hello, state your whatever you do, but then you weren't on camera. Whereas here, by the way, again, we're on YouTube Live. So everybody can watch us right now if they know that we're doing this on the 6th of October, live at 9 p.m. Central. There you go.
Yeehaw.
And then, of course, they live on forever. I forgot to say that on a bunch of the shows, but I'm assuming people kind of know of Intellectual Radio, already know where to find it. I don't know. But anyway, there is a website. Did I say that already, Joe? IntellectualRadio.com?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay,
yeah,
good. I said it again. But anyway, so nice to meet you, Del. You obviously know Joe. Did you guys also, I didn't get the beforehand, did you work together on music too?
we played a show together.
Well, that counts. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. It was a fun time. First time I met him, Drunken Donut, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So we played a show at the Drunken Donut. It was a really awesome time to see what talents he brought in songwriting.
Where is the Drunken Donut?
Joliet.
Oh, Joliet, Illinois. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So
you mentioned you weren't originally, you lived somewhere else before Chicago.
Yeah, so it's a little convoluted. I grew up around here. I went to like 13 different schools in the Chicagoland area. And
were you a troublemaker, or your family just moved a lot or something?
It's so. I mean, my mom wasn't necessarily okay in the head. But I mean, that's another story entirely. But the short story is just that we moved around a lot.
Oh, you
did?
Okay.
Eventually I ended up moving in with my dad when I was about 14, who has a furniture store out in Aurora.
Oh, okay.
So
Joe's neck of the woods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's actually how I got acquainted with the Drunken Donut. And because I was going there ever since I was maybe like 16, 17.
Oh, it's an all ages type deal then, obviously. You don't have to be 21?
It was when I first started going there, but people kind of took advantage of it to the point where they had to they had to cut it back and be like, all right, nobody is allowed in here unless you're 21 and over.
I always thought about that. I mean, some of the places had like a separate door or even a club. Like there was this famous one out. People in Chicago remember this. It's in Woodridge, Illinois. It was two nightclubs, and I can't remember all the both names. And then it was like a coffee shop too. But they were supposed to be all ages, and then 21 over went to like the back room. So is that kind of what the Drunken Donut was doing? Sounds like
not really. They're their own vibe. I'll say that. Like it's a very cool kind of.
But there were people from like 16 all the way to our ages.
Yeah, but there's not really a side room. It's kind of one big room right at the front, and then there's a store attached to it, and then there's a like back area where everybody kind of hangs out and chills with bonfires and stuff like that. Has a fun time.
This sounds like and you may have been here too, the Ashbury Coffee House. That's also in Illinois, Willow Springs, Illinois. You guys both know that one?
Yeah, I know Ashbury. You should check it out.
Oh yeah,
yeah, it's really cool. And I mean, PunkBordello would love it there probably.
They have a lot of of punk and metal bands.
They have a floor like this upstairs.
That's not on camera. What are you pointing to?
The back wall where the foam pads.
Gotcha.
The ISO.
Yeah,
Diacephone.
well, it's not even the ISO; it's just the color spectrum.
Oh,
the
But
okay.
it's
checker
also
pattern.
a sound deadening.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like this is a studio.
No, I'm talking about like the actual place. It's
I
the
got you.
color pattern. Yeah,
I like giving you a hard time.
All
But anyway, so you were going to the again. What now? I forgot the name. The Drunken Donut. Is that right?
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah.
Since you were a little kid, moved around a little bit, and were you always into music then too? Obviously, probably. I'm
Yeah.
guessing.
So I started playing guitar when I was 6 years old and drums when I was 7 years old.
Oh wow, that's really young. Nice.
Yeah.
So you've been doing it a while then.
Yes,
A whole
sir.
3 years. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
You toured, correct? Like nationwide.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So that brings me to when I was about like 21, 22. I hadn't like gone out and seen anything, and at least in Chicago, like my attitude towards the just like the scene that I had experienced had kind of like soured a little bit. And, I had some legal troubles and I got, out of that and then got my feet, got up on my feet and everything. And, I made my first record, which I kind of treat like a redheaded stepchild.
Okay.
But
It's
Yeah,
there, but
redhead.
we don't talk about it.
well, yeah, and
Li-
the
you
thing-
just offended Livy. Oh my god! No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I just sorry, no offense intended. It's just used it for the phrase.
I understand. I just.
but
You know the phrase,
We're
right?
we're trying to make him comfortable here. Anyway, so we don't talk.
I can't
about that
believe
album.
you, Dell.
right, but that was how that was how I learned how to make a record, and I had about 4 songs that I did with a producer in the studio in St. Francis University, and
That's in where's that? Joliet, right?
yeah, in Joliet, and I wasn't able to book enough studio time in order to finish every song on it. So only about 4 of those songs ended up coming out like pristine and prim and proper. But even like conceptually, in terms of like just general songwriting, I'm still not too pleased with them.
So we don't want to talk about that album at all. I take it. Is that
No.
Okay.
But it was a necessary kind of thing because I
You have to
figured out-
learn. in the
exactly
studio.
that was kind of the thing, because I finished the rest of the album like on my phone, like on GarageBand.
I was just going to bring up in the digital age. I guess it's a little easier and faster to get it done, but not perfected because you weren't in the studio
Right.
with the whole thing. But I'm sure it's still pretty good. You really don't want to mention it? I guess
Well,
you don't have to. I guess.
Well, it's only available on Apple Music, and that's just because I wasn't able to like wipe it off of every like I like
You really do
it's-
don't want to talk
that's-
about it. Okay.
Get away!
Come on. How old were you when you did that then?
I think it came out when I was 21.
Oh, so you'd already
yeah.
been doing music for a long time because you said
Yeah.
6. So
Well, see, the
Okay.
thing is like I was mainly an
When you started at 6.
instrumentalist, and I mean, when I was younger, I only wanted to play guitar or drums, and I really didn't want to be front and center, the center of attention, or anything like that. I just wanted to play an instrument. And what's funny about that is my mom had always like told me like, oh, you're gonna have to learn how to sing and play, because what if someone doesn't show up for a gig and you got to do it? And I'm like, Mom, that's not how it works.
you
Like,
don't do it.
It's not gonna happen.
and lo and behold, that is exactly what happened.
I mean, you don't have understudy. It isn't like a play.
Right. But I ended up, like composing all the songs and writing everything, and it was very begrudgingly, just because I couldn't find the resources to be able to do it, because I mean I never really had that much money to be able to put to it at any given time.
You were doing this all locally in Illinois. You're saying like near
Right.
Joliet, I
Yeah, I
guess.
think at the time I lived in Romeoville, and I realized that I had no idea how to do anything professionally with video, and I didn't know how to do anything professionally as far as like marketing the album. And so I'm like, so what do I do with this? And I decided that I just needed a complete change of scenery. And on a whim, I leased an apartment in Austin. I got a
Wow.
27-hour long train ride to Austin, and I took all the gear that I could.
Wow.
And
Oh, they must make a lot of stops. It's not. I didn't think it was that far.
It
Jeez.
was pretty agonizing. I would never do that again.
A train all the way. You know, everybody talks about taking the train, how great it is to go across the country, and I forget what they call it, the Zephyr, the California Zephyr, or whatever. But I don't think I'd want to be on there for more than a couple hours.
You don't. I promise you that. Like a bottle of water was what, like $7.
Oh, geez.
And they charge the same for a bottle of water as they did for a beer. So I'm like, all right, screw it. Let me get a beer.
Why not just drink, right? So you don't have to worry about the 27 hours.
Yeah,
But
get rid of the
Austin,
sorrow. Oh, this is passing by.
You're talking about Austin, Texas, for the record.
Yes, yeah. And so the first day, what's funny about it is, you know, it was either LA or Austin, and I had already been to Austin, and I loved it in Austin. So I was like, okay, I'll go for Austin. I've been there. I'm not so sure if I'll like LA. And you know, after I had moved to Austin, my sister at the time was living in LA, so I was able to visit and realize that I'm not the biggest fan of like I like visiting LA, but to live there
is tough.
Yes,
It's very expensive. I don't know
Oh.
about Austin, but LA is ridiculously pricey.
The
Austin's
first-
definitely less.
yeah, I remember going to like Signature Cafe, which is owned by the same company that Jewel is. Fun fact.
Huh?
I don't think
but-
I've ever heard that. Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
so I-
Signature Select.
Yeah, Signature
Yeah.
Select. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I remember going to this Signature Select in Los Angeles and like looking at a bag of chips and realizing it was like literally double. Like at the time, like the cost of a bag of chips, everything down to a bag of chips was at least double the price.
How was
From-
all the smog?
From Chicago. Wait, from
yeah.
Chicago though,
I
or
had
from
one
Austin?
sunny day.
From one sunny day. Oh
out
my
of
God.
4.
Because all the factory smoke from Silicon Valley.
There's a lot of crap.
Well,
and
Silicon
that's
Valley
going
is
on.
more
There's the
digital.
mountain issue. There's the ocean. You know, it comes together. But
Yeah.
so wait, where is it more expensive then? You say Chicago or Austin? Double.
Well, so Austin, I haven't been there in a little bit now since the last time I toured out there.
Well, I mean, when you were there, when you were noticing between where and LA that things were double.
Austin was much cheaper
Oh, okay.
at that time. It's since changed just because of all of the comedy traffic that is
Isn't it just a
navigated.
big art scene in general, like musicians, comedy?
They keep
you know,
it weird
film and
out there,
stuff?
man. I tell you.
I've never been there, so I don't know. I've been to Dallas.
One thing I've noticed about Austin that was really difficult. So like I moved out there, you know, basically like the clothes on my back, and it took me about like a year and some change to like get the necessary contacts and do auditions with bands that had maybe like a residency on 6th Street. And eventually I got myself into South by Southwest in 2020.
Oh, there you go.
But we
Wow.
all know what happened in 2020.
Oh, yeah.
so
Wah, wah.
Wait, so
yeah.
you didn't get yourself in because they probably
I would-
canceled it, obviously.
Yeah, I had like 3 gigs that I like 3 separate bands I was supposed to play drums in, and then I was having
what did
rehearsals.
they do? They just didn't do anything? There was no like wear
We-
a mask? or-
We were having rehearsals in my living room, and the only time I had ever had like the news on, just like in the background, it just said South by Southwest for 2020 canceled.
Ah,
And we're all
been
looking
so
at it,
upset.
and like everybody in this band is looking at it, and we're like, game
Jesus. Yeah, I mean, well, nobody really expected everything to close, I don't think. I think the mask thing, people might have thought that would happen because in hospitals they were already doing that stuff. But geez, I mean, we literally closed down the whole country,
Oh yeah, without a
state by
doubt.
state. They didn't even do it in like at the same time.
Right.
We were
yeah.
supposed to do my Brojack was supposed to do
Yeah.
a competition, and we had made it to the finals.
This is Joe's project.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
yeah.
and we had made it to the finals for a competition at House of Blues, and we were going to play the main stage that day.
Oh,
when everything shut down.
oh.
So I know the feeling.
Oh,
Like,
my
I
God.
definitely
Did they
know
give
the
any
feeling.
money to you guys? Well, I guess you're a smaller band, but he was at House of Blues, don't they? Didn't they pay you
Oh,
something?
he traveled the nation. Yeah. He,
All right, so did they pay you something for being in there?
Well, so I mean, at this time, I hadn't traveled like the nation just yet. So
Yeah.
basically, after like throughout COVID, I made my what we'll call the first record.
Well, wait. Well, hold on. I'm just curious how they handled the South by Southwest. They didn't give bands any kind of deposits that you kept. Nothing.
No.
Really?
Nothing
Oh,
like
I thought
that.
they do. Okay. Same with House of Blues. They didn't give you nothing.
Oh, that was a competition. That was different.
Oh, it was
yeah,
kind of
yeah, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So that was more for fun.
No, we were gonna play the main stage. It was just more
But I mean,
like
if you won, right?
if you won, you got a music video, free recording time. You got like a couple $500, $600.
All right, so that's still a big thing to miss out on.
yeah.
I feel for both of you.
Yeah.
I mean, with this, we were able to. Well, I was doing it for a bigger station in Chicago, just out of my home office, so
Oh yeah.
I was able to do that.
Well, that's
you know,
good.
but I guess not for South by Southwest. Wow,
Yeah.
brutal.
I don't know if I'd still have gotten over that. You seem okay.
Well,
That's how it goes.
the thing is like it kind of
That's a big one, though.
yeah, it like it had its way of working out because I always found it difficult to find like players that had the same ambition and drive as me, believed in the music that I was writing. And I also like throughout 2020 and 2021, I released my first record called Pipe Dreams in 2021. And yeah, we're repackaging that. So but I that was during that period was when I was just like locked in the room by myself. Like I was still working through COVID, but all the time outside of that was just spent like refining and making song after song after song and just refining that what like my favorite compositions, and it really led to me making what I now consider to be like the first greatest works that I've made so far.
You've
Awesome.
created some great stuff so far, man.
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
dude.
I mean, like I said, I told you. Oh, I know those guys. I don't know where I would have seen or heard of you. Probably Facebook, I'm guessing.
Yeah, most likely. We've got like a little bit of a following, but
You were talking about being in Austin, but now you're obviously based back in the Chicago, Illinois area, right?
So that first record actually served as kind of like a resume body of work to be able. So like when we were out of the woods, so to speak, with COVID, I started touring as a drummer for a band out of Austin, and then like they gave me did me a couple favors to kind of like through happenstance get me into this band that was based out of New York. So I'd fly out to New York for rehearsals, and then we did a tour that was Texas to New York and then Texas to Florida, and then something completely separate. After that second tour, I came back to Chicago because at that point I had like missed home, and from just the touring that I had done, all the time in between like each tour was spent basically doing whatever I needed to do to get back out on the road.
Okay.
So if I
Makes
needed,
sense.
I needed like, new cymbals, new gear. And, I had maybe about like a month or two in between each leg of tour to be able to facilitate that and get those things. And, then I had to also have a couple bucks in my pocket to kind of
To live, right?
eat and live while I was on tour in different cities all the time.
But you still want to do that again? I'm guessing, right? Doing the touring stuff sounds like a lot of fun.
Touring was a lot of fun. The only thing is just that I learned what each band was doing wrong, and through their mistakes, I kind of learned what I could do to make it more sustainable and just give it more longevity. So at this point now, what my goal is I am doing what I call taking a step back to lunge forward. So I want to really invest in the marketing of each show so that what we're taking home is like much more sustainable than $100 each at best.
I gotcha.
You got a good team with you though, for sure.
Well, that team has actually gone through a little bit of a change.
Oh, it shifted?
Yeah, it did.
New
It did a little
people?
bit. Yeah, we had a little bit of a creative fork in the road that we recently had to kind of, the other guys wanted to make it like a traditional like rock band, which it was already that, but I had this idea for the next PunkBordello record, which is going to be called Chicago Style Rock and Roll.
Okay.
And for the longest time, I mean,
Sounds good.
I would say from the time that we played that first show with you, I had this name in my head, like what is Chicago style rock and roll like mean? What does that, even embody.
Have some bluesy sounds in there, I would think.
So this is what I came up with, and I was actually, the day that I coined it, I was like so excited about it, and I was like, I'm happy that we were able to keep our drummer Bandana Brad Herwey.
Oh, so you kept Bandana Brad?
Brad, yeah, Brad's pretty enthusiastic about it. And he's
Oh,
been,
yeah.
like,
well,
super
wait, hold
supportive
on.
of
So
the
you're
whole
not
thing.
doing just drumming anymore? Are you like the lead singer for this?
He changed that role, yeah.
Yeah. So when I met Joe and we played that first show, I had to do something I had never done before, and that was play the drums and sing and rap.
Okay.
So, and it was taxing. I could do it, which was amazing to me because I didn't even know that I could do that.
You pulled it off. You
I-
pulled it off.
I
Very
appreciate
well.
that.
So then you switched your role more to now being the lead singer or something?
Right. Yeah. So
Okay.
now I stepped out in front and I play lead guitar and sing lead and do that whole thing. I just wanted to make the live show more effective, and actually that's also because of what I saw out of Joe here, because the way that he worked the crowd at that first show is like, I can't do that from behind the drums, but I know that I have to do something at least close to that because
Dell's probably referring to you like jumping around on stage and dealing with the crowd, right?
I have a bit of fun. Yeah, for sure. Like whenever since I don't play instruments like Dell, it's like I want to embody the best form of a frontman that I could be, because I'm more of just a writer. I like to write books. I like to do all those things, which I bet Dell could easily do.
It sounds like you're a jack of all trades. You're doing everything.
Oh yeah,
He's talking
I
about
like to
drumming,
act.
singing,
against my
writing.
will.
I do other forms
Okay.
of art, and he does more of like the whole kit and caboodle of the music. I do quite a like acting and different stuff of that nature more so.
So you're trying to do that on stage, I think is what Dell's talking about. You got a little showmanship to you.
I like theatrics, and I like involving the audience, because I believe like the smaller crowds are where you make your best friends.
Absolutely, 100%. And it's because that is the role, that is the task of a frontman, and that is how you create an effective live show. On top of the band being in tandem and
Good.
in sync with each other. Yeah, good.
Oh, good. Right. Okay.
But it's really important to be able to do what Joe was able to do, and I saw that from that first show. And after that, we took like a brief hiatus because I had to find a drummer that was not just as good and could keep up, but was like better than me. And that's when we found Brad.
He's killer.
He is. He's the first drummer that we came across that I was like, you're a better drummer than me. I need you in this.
Where was
band."
that first show that you guys are saying? Repeat where you said it
Drunken Donut.
That was, but when? I mean, no, I said where. I meant when. When would that have been?
Like a year and a half ago?
Yeah,
Okay.
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is all recent that this is all developing like this.
Yes. Yeah. And then once Brad was in the band, then we had a show at the Alibi in, I want to say it was Crystal Lake.
Suburb of
Wonder
Chicago.
Lake.
Wonder Lake.
Yeah,
Wonder Lake.
Wonder
Sorry.
Lake.
Yeah.
Don't look at me for that, because I don't know where a lot of these venues are. I thought I did. I'm still getting used to the Chicago Social Club or West Chicago Social Club. I mean, it's in the name.
WC.
Yeah, and I'm like, how would I not know where that was? I don't
That's
know.
a nice venue.
Suburb of Chicago.
It's in West Chicago.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate that. But anyway, so again, we're talking with Dell, and the band that you're talking about is
PunkBordello.
Yeah. Okay. Just want to make sure.
But yeah, so with that being said, I took a step back, and while we were playing these shows, I'm kind of at the same time figuring the next direction and trying to define like, what does Chicago style rock and roll mean? And eventually, after that Alibi show, somewhere in the midst there, I had to, I had always had trouble making an income from music, like even just that walking away with $100 type thing. Because one thing I wasn't going to do is what was done to me while I was touring and just let my guys go without. If somebody was going to have to take, to walk away with nothing, then it was going to be me, because
the lead singer guy,
because
the guy running things.
it's a quote from Plato. It's the goal of leadership is the fear of rule of lesser men. And I mean, if we're talking about doing things the right way, not cutting any corners, I mean, if I'm writing all the songs and these guys are gracious enough to be there on stage with me, playing the parts and making it happen and making an effective live show, then I felt like the least that I could do is make sure that they're taken care of.
I love
And
that.
and this is kind of like the next step in the evolution of that. But
Especially if you wrote all the parts. If like say if it was a creative collaboration, then it would be more like kind of everybody kind of puts it into band fund.
But are you
Right.
saying on tour there were times where you guys were like making enough money to eat and survive and have shelter, or what are you
So
telling me?
I was pretty much broke in every city from coast to coast.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was very difficult.
That's how
And
tour life is a lot of times.
and the reason why I
thought
had
that
to
the venues are helping out with more than just enough to just get by. You know what I mean? Like you got paid thousands of dollars. I guess I'm crazy about that because
That's for larger bands.
yeah,
for
that's
sure.
especially when you're trying to cut your teeth like in the very early stages of it. You are like pinching pennies. You are trying to minimize cost at every turn. And like
my,
even if
like my daily life.
Are you Libby's on a budget? Are you traveling in your own vehicle, or you guys get like you see some of the bigger bands obviously have
So-
big vans or big buses?
So the first band that I was in, they owned a recreational vehicle,
Oh,
and that's
okay.
what we
A
toured
big
in.
RV works, yeah.
And then the second band that I toured in, they would rent an RV through like an app. I don't know. There's like car rental, RV rental
Yeah,
apps.
they have a really good app for that with some good RVs. Yeah.
But the point is, you weren't
Yeah.
you weren't like sleeping in your car.
No, that came after.
Oh, jeez. All right.
I know the
So-
feeling.
So what had happened was when I came back to Chicago, I got a house with my brother so that I could start, like my stepbrother. Let me clarify. So that I could like really start, honing in on everything and just make a living with music, like a regular kind of income. I had a job, and then I started getting more and more opportunities through, just playing bass, playing drums, just for hire kind of gigs, as well as like, the odd PunkBordello show here and there. But what ended up happening is my stepbrother, who I shared this house with, he ended up kind of extorting me for money. He would like shake me down
Oh,
every day, and it started to get like kind of violent. So
every day?
pretty much every day. Anytime I had
this is
any
a daily rental.
yeah, like anytime I
You
would
got
make
your
any,
lunch money and everything.
$75 a day, or you're out.
and they like
Jeez.
my stepbrother and my dad kind of like supported it just because like it ended up being like a jealousy thing. Like they admitted these things to me in confidence and expected me
Your
to just
dad
be
supported
okay.
your brother shaking you down.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, and like
That's not cool.
at the end of the day, like I'm making like I'm spreading myself thin to try and make all this money, and then at the end of the month, I'm like, how come I don't have anything left over? I made like $2,500 this month. How come?
You
Yeah,
killed all your
the-
stepbrother.
Exactly.
Jeez,
And that
that's a
was the
rough story.
And so
I feel like you need a hug right now. We're
no.
doing the show. Okay, Joe will do it. There you go.
But what ended up happening, I got out of there, I got a rehearsal space on the north side of Chicago, and I took a bet on myself, and I slept in my car for about like 5 months, and I worked
I
at
was just saying it as a
Jewel-Osco
joke, but you actually did it. I'm sorry to hear that.
No, it's the fact of the matter
It's
is
a growing thing. Like
Exactly.
honestly, I slept in my car a few times, and
Yeah.
it's a
I
very.
mean, I guess
like,
I could have. I had pretty cheap rent. I lived in Vegas and Iowa on the radio, and they're known for not paying that well too. But I was doing sales,
Right.
But there were nights I was like, am I gonna be able to afford the rent next week?
This just adds to his story at the end when he makes it as a rock star.
And so
make for a good movie.
oddly enough, we played this show at Brothers Sports Bar on Addison and Pulaski.
Love Brothers.
Chicago.
Yeah. And I met my current girlfriend there, and she was supposed to be playing that night, but she ended up just going with a couple of her friends who were playing in a different act that played that night.
Oh,
And it was kind of one of those things where they're egging her on to like come on out, and she's like,
I was gonna say,
okay,
she wasn't
fine.
scheduled or something because it sounded like it was an open mic or something.
Well,
How did
her band, it wasn't an open mic. It was just like a band with a like 4 or 5
like
bands
couple
on
bills.
it. Yeah.
Like
Oh,
slotted.
so it's okay if she didn't play, I guess.
Yeah. So she came out to show her support and everything like that, and I met her, and I usually am first in, last out because I'm there. I'm marketing. I'm the face of PunkBordello, so I have to, basically talk to everybody. And she ended up being the only person that I talked to that night.
Oh, nice.
So, and I mean, lo and behold, like we're here like 6 months later, and I am staying out there with her now. So
that works.
Yeah, and
that's all real recent stuff then. Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, like, things are going real well.
You are doing it full time then, or do you have some other projects you're working on?
So
the music
right now, I'm just focusing on like writing the next couple of albums.
You've got a solo thing too, right?
So that's actually that's what I'm doing is I'm releasing music under 2 names. There's Del Jones, and then I'm releasing music under PunkBordello as well.
Okay.
And so I'm kind of like doing this stuff to kind of complement each other. I'm coming out with 3 records, and I'm releasing everything pretty much as singles, very strategically through social media promotion, and I'm gonna do some advertising campaigns as well.
And you're living on what you've already made then, or you do other projects during the day too, or?
So I have a little bit of
supplemental writing.
I have a little bit of supplemental income from the placement that my song "Rebel" got in a Australian like opal mining show on Discovery Plus. And so I'm getting a little bit of royalties off of that, but I've got like a 9 to 5 that I'm kind of just using that to pay the bills and get everything situated.
If you ever want to collab.
Oh, absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Let's write something.
You guys already did that first show you did with you. So.
Oh, no, collab is like
you
writing a song together.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Not just working together. You mean writing together. Sure.
Yeah.
Writing collaboration. Thank you.
Yeah.
1000% though. I would love to.
Oh, heck yeah.
But so Chicago style rock and roll is on its way. All the track listing is done. The songs exist and they're written. I just need to record them now. But I've got 3 records in total. So Just Dive In is an acoustic record.
Cool.
Prince of Punk is under Del Jones. That's going to be like a punk and metalcore album.
Oh, nice.
And then Chicago style rock and roll is going to be it's going to be what I hope is adopted as the Chicago sound. So it's punk, house, and hip hop. The 3 things that come out of Chicago the most.
I was going to say a lot of that is based in Chicago, and then blues, of course. Can't forget blues. But
of
blues
course.
kind of spurs off into those other ones.
Blues is kind of waned in a sense, like in the scene. Like it's most of what I see lately is a lot of punk pop, like at the major venues. Mm-hmm. You see blues at like Kingston Mines. You see them at like a couple of other clubs, especially Johnny's Blitz.
Yeah,
but it's more like kind of segmented off lately. Even though I still love blues thoroughly.
Well, you forgot about not House of Blues, but Buddy Guy's Legends.
Yeah,
that's
Buddy
a big
Guy's
one.
Legends.
And even Reggie's does some stuff. But that's everything. That's more metal, I think. Have you been at Reggie's?
Yes, yeah. Actually, the first show, like Chicago proper show that I ever played in this band that I was in when I was about 18, that was it was like a battle of the bands at Reggie's.
We're talking a lot of Chicago stuff. He's been talking L.A. and Austin, but a lot of Chicago because that's where we're based. That's where he's based. That's where Joe's based. So it's such a big, huge thing. Everybody always thinks everything's out of L.A. and New York. No.
Chicago's the 3rd largest media outlet in the world. It is. In the U.S., which
Austin. You said world, but definitely U.S. But I mean, there is Austin. There is like Miami has a scene. Atlanta has a scene. But Chicago's pretty big.
What's your favorite venue you ever played anywhere?
My favorite venue that I've ever played anywhere. I mean, it's got to be probably the House of Blues because that was like a huge victory in that first band that I was just talking about.
Which state?
In Chicago.
Oh, Chicago? Okay.
Yeah, I forgot. They're all over now.
Yeah. But yeah, I headlined it in that band when I was 18. And then, we also played the Bottom Lounge twice after that.
I worked there.
Joe knows it well.
I'm a bouncer.
Yeah, he works there.
Oh, nice.
Get rid of you if you.
Kevin's a cool guy.
If the band gets a little rough, Joe's going to throw you out.
I mostly babysit the dudes at the weddings upstairs. Yeah.
Oh, fun.
Okay.
Because
fun.
like they get into fights with all the free alcohol, so it's like, raw.
So
Yeah.
we're obviously talking. We're just for people who maybe just tuned in. We're talking with Del Jones, and would you consider yourself like local band, or you are national? Where do you place yourself?
So I mean, it's
Chicago-ish band, because then you were in Austin, of course.
well, yeah. I would say that I'm right now. I'm local, but I've had enough national experience to be able to create a more sustainable career. And now it's just a matter of like not cutting any corners and going through that straight line, and doing things the way that I know they need to be done.
That
Walk
makes
up the
sense.
stairs, don't like skip a step.
Right, right.
There's always the steps. Everybody wants to go to be the best and be at the top, but you got to work your way up there. Obviously,
Yeah.
It's a
Even if
long
you
way
know
to the
somebody,
top
you
if
still
you want
wanna-
to rock and roll.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
And the
Joe
thing-
likes throwing in all the good, jokes and
Yeah.
references. And then you were talking about Play-Doh. I liked hearing that one.
So the thing is like I've built up enough connections to be able, like, I could probably facilitate like booking a tour from coast to coast, like tomorrow. But the fact of the matter is, like, the infrastructure and actually making sure that people go to these shows, and that it's not just like 5 or 10 people in the room here and there. I really want to make sure that like every show is as packed as it needs to be for everybody to walk away, in the black. I don't think it's impossible to have a tour that starts in the black, but you can't be giving the supply before you have the demand.
That makes sense.
And that's the big problem of a lot of bands. Like
They try to just jump out there.
yeah, they try to
Yeah.
jump out there, and they try to tour in a model that is very, 90s oriented, where in the old days you had to tour for at least 2-3 months in order to get into the black, and then you had to just keep going for it.
It ain't the 90s anymore.
No,
Yeah.
but people try to just get out there like social media, right?
Right.
Is that what you're saying?
Right. And you really have to mind the marketing of things. You really have to stay relevant by releasing singles. And
Well, let's talk about that. Where they
yeah.
are finding you then. So if they want to know about Del, where do they go to look for you? Where have you? I mean, you publish stuff, obviously.
Yeah. So I mean, as far as like listening to music goes, you can Spotify and Apple Music. Del Jones is spelled DELJONEZ, and then PunkBordello is PUNKBORDELLO.
I'm glad
That's
you
one
said
word
that.
on that one. One word, right?
One word,
Yeah,
yes.
I'm
yes.
glad you said it because I was going to tell you to spell it. You just did. So
Yeah.
okay, all right. And then
For the
you know,
video.
you're working on. You're
For
saying
the
you're working
gram.
on those projects, and right for the video, exactly. So eventually, there's probably going to be another album out of you. Is what it sounds like.
Yeah, but like the full like compilation is gonna have some like bonus tracks on it, so that there's actually incentive to go and like stream that album once it's out. But all the main tracks are gonna be released as singles until they're all out, basically over the course of the next 2 years.
Nice.
And then so to maintain relevancy, I'm just releasing music between those two names, just to make sure that they're not kind of stepping over each other as far as like algorithms are considered, because we all have to be algorithm minded.
You know about the online stuff, sure, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah,
they're
once you learn
finding,
about the algorithm, you want to play it correctly. And
Ex-
sometimes people don't want to play it correctly.
and I mean, they're finding you on social media, not just the streaming sites. Obviously, Facebook. You got a Facebook page,
Yes.
It has to have a full identity, like any sort of show.
Instagram.
I do a lot of my booking inquiries and stuff like that through Instagram. Yeah.
Facebook's good for it too.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, they're related. They're mega or whatever. What are they called now?
Meta.
Meta. Thank
Yeah.
you. I said
Yeah,
mega.
with Facebook, you'll have a better chance of finding more of like a lot of the local gigs that you can get, because a lot of like older people who own like the bars around here, like they only have Facebook.
They don't
You
know about
so-
all the good ones like TikTok. Are you doing
Right.
TikToks too?
Yes, I am. I'm doing much to my own chagrin.
It's funny you say that, because
I
our
like
stuff will be
Instagram
on there, but
Reels,
I
yeah.
never really liked TikTok. Now I do.
It's just because it's so like it's so oriented towards like a very short attention span.
Yeah.
So like
well, there is a lot of it, especially in today's social media.
yeah, you got to really be like couple videos a day. Like,
do you remember the short
incessantly.
one that was only like 6 seconds or 5 seconds?
Oh,
Whatever it was?
Vine?
Yeah, Vine.
I love
mean,
Vine.
Hi, my
mean-
name is Nicholas, and this is ridiculous.
And that's all you got. That's all you got. 6 seconds, whatever. What was it? 6? I think it was 6 or 7.
That
But
was
anyway,
fun.
So yeah, it sounds like you got kind of a mastery of how to be found and how to get yourself out there, which is great. And I swear, like I said off the air, I know you from somewhere. I've probably seen you at a venue. Then that's the only thing I can think of.
Likely,
Unless the day job, but I don't know. Probably not. So, but yeah, it was really cool talking with you about all this, and I look forward to hearing the next project from you. And now I've been following everybody that's on the show, so I got a lot of people I'm trying to keep up with, but you'll definitely be on there for sure.
Definitely give him a
Thank you.
listen. He's
Thanks for
got
coming
some
on.
stuff online too.
I'm gonna go look. In fact, we'll probably look after the show because we're gonna be driving for a little while. So
Good
it was
vocals
awesome.
and good lyrics.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, she's already getting ready. He's building up for the collab. I can hear it. He's like, after the show, we're going to talk about when we're going to meet to write. Am I right?
We'll
Joe?
figure it out. We'll talk.
Oh,
it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll talk off the air, right? Well, anyway, thanks again for being here. Again,
My
find him on
pleasure.
all the social medias and spell it. Go ahead, spell your name and the band one more time.
So, my name is Del Jones, DELJONEZ. And then the band's name is PunkBordello. That's PUNKBORDELLO. That's one word.
Great.
One word.
So everybody look for him. I know we're on now, but you'll be seeing this as a repeat, like podcast, video cast, and of course we are on all the social medias. Except I don't think we're on TikTok. I got to double check that one. But my little short clips will be eventually, so you'll be seen through the show. I hopefully you'll promote the show now too.
Absolutely.
Because you're in it now,
Yeah.
right? And then we're on all of those podcasting sites. There's a lot of them now. There's like a new one every day, it seems like.
Yeah.
But definitely iHeart's one of them. Spreaker is where we originate. It's called Spreaker.com with an R, not speaker, but R. And then like Apple, we're on them all. So you'll see us.
Yeah.
So
Do you Spreakers the Dutch?
Yeah,
I'm
right.
just
That's what
kidding.
I always think of when I think of it. It's a weird spelling. It's a weird name, but I don't know. That's what they thought of. But yeah, you're talking about the algorithm. So it's good that we all get together with the pounds and all that, the ats and all that good stuff. So
Pounds. Nobody calls it pounds anymore.
I still do.
Tags.
Oh, excuse me. Hashtag. Sorry.
Hashtag.
You can tell my age. I always talk about it. I feel like I'm old. I just turned 50. You don't know this, but I had a little incident back in July that I thought was going to keep me off the air or just out of doing everything, but I'm still here and I'm still breathing.
Well,
It was the ticker,
Oh,
but it's still ticking. So that's
I haven't
good.
breathed this whole entire show.
Yeah, it was. I wish I could do that. Anyway, thanks again for having you on. But don't go anywhere. We just have a cool segment, kind of segueing from music into really just anything entertainment. But he mostly focuses on Chicago. So I know he's been waiting patiently. He thought he was coming on the other show we did. But no, he's on our late night show. Let's make sure he's there. Do we have you here? Can you hear us there, Mr. Rich G? Oh, wait a minute. Oh, got to move that. There we go. Nope. Ooh, that's loud. Are you there, Rich?
Yes, I am, Mario.
There we go. That's good. Hold on one second. We got a little, speaking of technical stuff. There we go. Let me move that. Okay, so yeah, I was just introing you, talking about all things entertainment. What's the scoop you got for us today? Oh, and by the way, this is Rich G with your entertainment concierge with TSP Productions. So what's cooking, Rich?
First of all, TSP Productions is Terribly Smart People Production.
Oh, I don't know how smart we are, but okay, I'll go with that. You're smart, right? You know everything.
People that I'm about are very, very smart. It's a little theater, okay?
Okay.
Let me tell you that Chicago is known for its theater around the world.
I can agree with that.
Theater around the world than it is in Chicago. Chicago has over 200 theaters.
I don't think
Or
it's.
the beginning of the parade that we're dealing with at the moment is at over 250 theaters. I think we have over 200 left.
Is that right?
There's a stand-up shop for us. I want to talk about a few of them. Certainly talk about 200 theaters and the amount of time that our show is going to take. First off, let me say that we have a wonderful, wonderful Broadway in Chicago.
Now that's big.
They bring in shows from all over the country. Like,
That's what she said.
something like that happens to run at the Cadillac Palace beginning on the 22nd of this month.
So we got a couple weeks.
And then Harry Potter is at the Netherlander Theater, and that's running until February.
Word.
That would be interesting to see that one. What theater was that? Say that again.
Netherlander.
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 That used to be something else.
The Netherlanders are theater
Can't remember.
named after one of the founders of Broadway in Chicago. Then you always got to mention the Goodman Theater and the Steppenwolf Theater. These are theaters that are known around the country. First of all, at the Steppenwolf Theater, you got Noises Off, and they just extended that for the rest of this week. It's going to close real soon. That's Noises Off. And then there's a world premiere pop musical industry show at the Raven Theater. That's going to open about the same time. It's going to run for about approximately 3 weeks, a month. We should also mention the Chopin Theater. That's spelled Chopin. Chopin Theater is doing some wonderful, wonderful works over there. Running from the 10th of October to the 22nd of December is the Stephen Into the Woods. That's the Stephen Sondheim's beloved musical at Chopin Theater. Chopin Theater also has another world premiere. The Golden Girls Meet the Scooby. A bunch of other words come after that. It's a world premiere at the Chopin Theater, and that's going to run until, they're probably going to extend it, but it's going to open at the same time as the other show that was just mentioned at the Chopin Theater.
Into the Woods?
Yeah.
Now the two groups that are doing these shows have chosen this particular theater now to do their plays in, and I've seen another play by the folks that have invented these two theaters and worked on and produced these two theater companies producing Sondheim's beloved musical and the Golden Girls show, which is a takeoff on the Golden Girls.
We've seen some Golden Girls things before from Richard. There was puppets, one of them, and the other one was really bizarre. It was live, and the one lady had extra. It was just crazy. We don't need to worry about it. But keep going. You go to this, I've got my guess when I ask real quick. Do you go to a lot of theater at all, Del?
No, not particularly.
He's too busy with music.
It's fun and laughs all throughout both shows. And the Goodman Theater now has Magic on Morse, by the way. It's a new theater company, and he's Dr. Magic, or the Physician Magician.
What theater was that?
Can he crack my back? You said physician magician? I'll gladly take a back crack.
Rhapsody Theater.
Wait, now.
Magic on Morse. It's on Rhapsody Theater is brand new.
Oh, gotcha.
Magic on Morse, because it's on Morse Avenue.
Right. I used to live over there.
Oh, okay.
Very nice.
Libby knows where it's at, Rich.
And and that's a lot of fun. And the Goodman Theater has talk about magicians, has an intimate, truly magical experience with the Magic Parlor now at the Goodman Theater.
Cool.
Now let's talk about some of our wonderful theaters besides Steppenwolf, which I mentioned.
They're not Broadway in Chicago. They're their own big one. That's for people who don't hear Richard. That's Gary Sinise is involved with it. I'm trying to think who else. Laura Metcalf from Roseanne and a bunch of other stuff. And then, of course, John Malkovich, being John Malkovich. I think he's one of. Aren't those the founding members of that theater, Rich? Steppenwolf?
Yeah, it's one of the known theater companies in the world, by the way, the world of theater in the United States. It's known all over.
Oh yeah, that I'm sure of. I thought those guys started it, but maybe not. Maybe they were just involved early on because it's been there for a while.
Well, they have more. They have a theater company that involves like 50 people, by the way, and you just mentioned a couple of the real famous ones. There are plenty more bites like them. In any event, the noise is off until November the 3rd at the Steppenwolf. Oh well, let's talk about some of the other theaters. Now, Chicago has a lot of suburbs.
We do.
live in Chicago.
We were talking about that with Dell of being around all these places, music venues though, not theater stuff.
I personally think that Illinois is known for Chicago. More people know of Chicago, of theater in Chicago. They know that they don't think of the theater in Highland Park or theater in Arlington Heights. Like Arlington Heights just opened up at the Metropolis, just opened Cinderella.
No kidding.
I was the Herald in Cinderella. That was my first musical in high school.
But we didn't get to see Joe. Well, go ahead. So that's in Arlington Heights. I wouldn't have thought of them of having a theater, but I guess a lot of these cities have their little village theater. I know Western Springs, near where I live in the Chicago suburbs, does.
There are a lot more than little theaters. I sent you Mario. I sent you to one show, and you loved it.
Oh yeah, that was you're talking about at the Citadel Theater in Lake Forest, Illinois?
That's right.
Yeah, that was a crazy play. That was good. It's still playing, right?
Oh yeah. But you gotta go quick. I think it's only going to rest this week.
I forgot the name of the play. What's the name of the play? The Cottage. That's it. Yeah, he said it. Sorry.
The name of the play is The Cottage. It's very, very funny. It's highly recommended by everybody that I have said.
It takes place in like the 1920s.
It's a sexy romantic comedy, is what it is.
Yeah, no, it was great. And again, I wouldn't think of that as being a theater area, but north suburbs, and then there's the Genesee Theater, but that's mostly like bands and music stuff and comedians. I don't know if they do plays. Do they do plays at the Genesee?
Oh yeah, they have a theater show every once in a while. They do short runs because the Genesee rents out the theater to other theater groups as well as to actors. Right now, I'm involved with the Genesee because Genesee has some nice shows. They've got Terry Clark, country music celebrity, and a tribute to ABBA. Coming up this week, as a matter of fact, and Miss Terry Clark. So,
yeah, she's a pretty famous country musician.
Yeah. Now she was in Chicago. She was in Chicago doing the show because she's promoted many shows herself. She sold over 5 million albums. Most people don't know her. She's from Canada. But she obviously was selling 5 million albums in the career of Terry Clark. Makes her one of the celebrities of the entire theater world. And Terry is also part of the Grand Ole Opry in Tennessee. She's the only Canadian woman involved in the Grand Ole Opry.
I would say because it's mostly like people that originated from the South or Tennessee area, right? That's really cool. She's supposed to be great. Our mutual friend Scott talks about her a lot, so I guess he was using some of her songs in his show that he used to do. So that's interesting. If that was just a one night thing, or is she coming back over there at the Genesee?
It was a one night thing, and if she puts out another album, she's going to promote it.
Oh, sure.
And Yeah, it's a couple of thousand people come to the Genesee Theater to see her, and which is in Waukegan, by the way, folks.
Yeah, Waukegan, Illinois. Sorry, I didn't say that.
Go enjoy it.
Well, we got about a minute or so left. What are some other highlights you want to talk about this week?
I want to talk about the Skokie Theater, South Pacific. That's going to close. South Pacific's going to close, but the Skokie Theater has some wonderful shows. And the Music Theater Works and Evanston is one of my favorite.
Yes, we've been there a few times with you or for you, and a very nice venue. I mean, all these places are cool venues, but that one's pretty well known. Like a lot of big acts come through there, a lot of big plays, I should say.
Well, the next play that they're doing starts at the end of this month, and that's the Little Shop of Horrors.
Oh, I'd love to see that. I can't believe I've never seen a live version of that, even at like a high school play. Have you guys, anybody in the studio seen it?
Oh yeah, I've saw it. I just want to climb into the Venus flytrap just to see what's inside, you know.
Oh man. Well, Rich, we've come to another conclusion here with our show for tonight, but we always love having you on. In fact, we've missed you a few times, but you're usually going to be on the later show. I want to clarify that now for you so you don't get confused, because we're doing 2 shows on Sundays, and then obviously they a couple of them repeat, and then they're available on demand forever as long as YouTube and Intellectual Radio are around. So, but yeah, you're the later show on Sunday nights, just to make sure everybody knows, and
Glad to have you.
And if anybody wants to see a review of those shows, they should call you, Mario, because I've reviewed that. I've had other reviewers review, and we've got reviews of those things posted on Mario's website.
On my Facebook page, and soon to be my website, mariojbell.com. I'm working on that. It's taken forever. But I'm getting to it. So anyway, but go ahead and you can sign us off for the night. How about that, Rich? Just say goodbye for everybody. And again, I want to thank my guest, Del Jones, for being here.
Look up PunkBordello. Look up Del Jones.
Yeah, it was great story, and I'm looking forward to hearing some more of your stuff. Thanks again, Joe, for being here all the time and bringing all the great guests. And of course, Libby. Thank you, Libby, for helping out. And Rich, so thank you. And oh, by the way, if we want to find Rich, he's kind of old school. You just call Rich, 312-661-1975. Again, that's Rich G, your entertainment concierge, 312-661-1975. And Rich, go ahead and take it away. Say goodbye for us.
Hey guys, let me just say, hey, old bean, and you too, baby. This is Rich, your entertainment concierge, signing off. And until next time, stay comfortable, enjoy the shows, be cool.
Take care, Rich. That's awesome. I love that.
Thanks, Rich.
Bye, everybody. Take care.
Thanks.
Bye,
Del.
Rich.
Thank you for coming on.
My pleasure.
I think it's off.